everyone, my name is Ayesha Bedwei. I want to welcome you to Tax Shorts. I'm the tax leader here at PwC in Ghana, and today I'm joined by my fellow tax partner, Abeku Gyan-Quansah, who also leads our indirect tax practice. It's a pleasure to have you all here today. And today we'll be discussing the recently passed Tax Exemptions Bill. And one of the things that I'm going to raise with you, Abeku, is that we've been waiting quite a while to have this bill, so it's good that it's finally arrived. It's great to have so much clarity in one document. What are your thoughts on this?
Ayesha, I actually share the same thoughts with you. I mean, as business people, we want certainty. I want to be very clear in my mind what it takes to do business. So I was actually very excited about that. And one of the parts that actually excites me is if the finance minister goes to Parliament to submit an exemptions request and Parliament responds, he needs to get back to me within 4 weeks. And I think it's a great idea. So I agree so much with the issue around certainty.
Okay, good. I also noticed when I was going through the bill that there are clear guidelines around providing services to government agencies and how to charge the taxes, because as you and I know, having worked on so many clients over the years, there's always an issue there about whether to charge VAT and indirect other taxes to the government. If so, why not? And whether that will be accounted for and how so. So it's good that it's clear in this bill that taxpayers must charge the government and the government must pay. What do you think about that?
Then Ayesha, this is actually exciting. Exciting because we already have provisions in our tax law that is responsible for tax administration in general. And that is what people call the Revenue Administration Act, Act 915. This law has been in existence since 2016, but in terms of implementation, since January 2017.
Okay.
Now, the interesting thing about that is that even the ministry, department, and agencies know that they cannot go and have conversations with people and give them exemptions without the Minister of Finance consenting and without Parliament actually backing the granting of that exemption. Now, what we can see in the law is that if I'm a private business person doing something for government and it relates to a commercial project of government, then I must charge VAT unless the VAT law says I should not charge.
Yes.
Now, apart from that, the other interesting thing is that if I fail to charge, the Revenue Authority, in this case the Ghana Revenue Authority, would recover it from me. And in addition to recovering it from me, there are sanctions in terms of penalties that apply. And in addition to that, I actually run a risk not having it deductible for income tax purposes. So I think largely this bill has given a lot more clarity on how things should be done. And when the president does not object by way of assent, and it's made public by way of gazetting, then we are all good to go.
Great. I see also that donor funds and grants have also been taken care of as well. So that's good to know. The strategic investor for the GIPC, something that we've heard mentioned over the years. You and I have both had to sit in meetings with the GRA and GIPC around this. So once again, there's clarity in this document around that. What are the procedures for following that?
All right. One is what I choose to call government public-led exemption requests, and the other is what I call the private special exemptions requests. The GIPC, in order to lead the conversations around exemption, would have to make sure that one, whichever area an investor is applying for exemptions for sits within what we call the priority sectors that have been approved by Cabinet.
Abeku, maybe finally for all the people who are tuning in today, for anybody who wants to approach the minister to go through the exemptions process, investors, local companies, anybody, what is the procedure?
All right. So remember I talked about what I call the private-led, the public-led.
Yes.
But what I find common to both is that whichever approach ones take, the Minister of Finance must get involved at a particular point in time.
Okay.
The Minister of Finance must approach Cabinet. Cabinet can actually refuse a request from the Minister of Finance. And if that is done, the right thing to do is to go back to the one who made the request to say the Cabinet does not approve of this.
Okay.
Thereafter, if the Cabinet approves of it, we then go to Parliament to get the approval done. What does this mean, Ayesha? This means that going forward, when government now brings up concerns around our exemptions are too much, then we need to ask, Is it a case that our parliamentarians are the one just approving this? Is it a case that cabinet members are not reviewing it properly? Or is it a case that the Minister of Finance himself did not look through the exemption properly before doing that? So now we have a proper chain. And the default members that will be involved, whether it's public-led, private-led, in this case GIPC-led, would be the minister, cabinet, and parliament are all involved in the exemption conversation. And one thing I would probably want to add is the transition provisions around making sure that the exemption is really, really valid.
Very key.
So what the bill also provides, hopefully the president would assent to be gazetted, becomes law. It says that within 6 months of this act, I will call it an act by then, being in force, approach the minister to ensure that you can enjoy that. This does not apply to those who have some provisions. It could be locational incentives under Income Tax Act. It doesn't apply to you. You would continue to enjoy it as normal. If you provide items for which you should enjoy some reliefs, it doesn't apply to you. So for example, if I am an AGI member and I can do upfront relief, these are not the things I'm talking about because it's enshrined in the VAT Act.
Okay, great.
But for those that are not in the VAT Act, the Income Tax Act, the Excise Duty Act and certain portions of the Customs Act, you are required, if you want to make sure you don't get into disputes with the GRA, within 6 months, approach the minister and make sure that your exemptions are not in dispute subsequently.
So Abeku, would that apply to holders of special agreements, for example, in the mining sector and oil and gas sector, construction and so on?
All right, so actually that's a good question.
Yeah.
The law says that for those ones that have already been approved, they would not be repealed on grounds of the Exemptions Act. Okay. But one thing I would say is that if you are not too sure, to avoid disputes with the GRA, please approach and make sure that these are not in disputes.
Okay, okay, great. Abeku, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. It's been really insightful, and I'm sure we'll be engaging in further conversations. And to everybody, thank you so much for joining us here on Tax Shorts. Once again, my name is Ayesha Bedwei. I'm the tax leader here at PwC Ghana. I was joined by my fellow tax partner, Abeku Gyan-Quansah, who leads our indirect tax practice, and we look forward to seeing you in future episodes. Thank you, and God bless.